Welcome back everybody to my channel. We are going to be filming as per usual in the comfort of my couch because my room that I usually film in, my office, my creative studio, is a complete and utter disaster zone. It was the room that my mother was in. For those of you that don't know, my mother passed away a few months ago and she stayed in that room and I just have not done anything to clean it. And it has kind of slowly taken over the rest of my apartment, which has been in complete and utter chaos since. So it just made me realize that, what does inattentive ADHD even look like in a woman? Like the average Joe Ann. What does it look like? I was looking into, what we experience, what it manifests as, what inattentive ADHD manifests as, and what you go through as a woman with ADHD. Not just the symptoms, but what does it actually look like? And for me, this past week, let's just say that it was extra AF. EAF, which are actually my initials for those of you that don't know, because my middle name is Ardell, not my first name, but people call me Ardell. And some people call me by my first name, which is Elizabeth, for those of you that didn't know. Facts. So this past few weeks, the past 2 weeks, these are the things I've done. 1, I locked myself out of my apartment on a really hot Midwest, humid, disgusting day. And I realized upon exiting the premises of my apartment that my keys and my phone were inside the apartment. And it was a Tuesday and my landlord's office is closed on a Tuesday. And if I have to call to be let back into my apartment and for an emergency case situation, it's $75. So didn't want to pay that. Moving on from there, I worked a very long shift at the restaurant that I worked at, proceeded to leave and couldn't find my keys and realized by looking for them that they were in the driver's seat of my car on the seat and I had locked my keys in my car. Yay! Then, not too long ago, about a week ago, in the middle of the night, somebody went into my car that I had accidentally left unlocked, which I never do, but obviously I didn't realize I did that because I never intend to leave my car unlocked. And I only noticed that when I got in my car the next day to go to work and somebody had rummaged through all of my things and stolen my $20 silver coin, which was really upsetting for me, actually, because me and my sisters invested together and it was like a special thing for us. And they stole my coin. That same morning, while heading to work, I grabbed a shirt out of my closet. And I don't know why I hung this shirt back up because it was a dirty shirt. Didn't realize it was a dirty shirt. I have to bring 2 options in the summertime to my job, depending on where my station is. I have to wear a white shirt or a blue shirt. Not important details, but I grabbed a dirty shirt, wore it to work. I got assigned the one station that I needed to wear the dirty shirt in, tried to get away with it, didn't get away with it, and got called up by my boss. The next day, I then got basically pulled aside for another manager, and somebody went up to my sister and they were like, "Is your sister okay? Is everything okay?" I also got called out this week by a friend for apparently cutting them off multiple times, which I could feel myself cutting my friend off, but I couldn't understand what they were saying, so I needed clarification. So like before they even kept going on, which maybe I would have understood what they meant in context, I cut them off multiple times and I could feel it every single time internally. And I was like, I don't want to cut you off, but I don't know what you're trying to say. But I didn't have the wherewithal to be like, well, maybe you could just fake it till you make it. And maybe by the end of them saying what they're saying, you would have figured it out. So upset said friend, then I had to apologize. Then I felt really stupid. And then I started to cry because I've just been an emotional hot wreck lately, as per usual. So I was looking into what it looks like for a woman to have ADHD. And one of the things I kept seeing and looking into, and I completely agree, is that you get overwhelmed in grocery stores or anything like that. Like if you have to go into the public and you have to make a bunch of decisions, it's just like an overwhelming hot mess. Like anything to deal with the public or like parties, gatherings, anything like that is overwhelming. For me, it depends on the environment. But grocery stores and shopping for clothing always overwhelms me. I am not a very big fan of shopping for clothes. School supplies, I could do that all day. I don't know why, but makeup, I love makeup. I could shop for makeup all day. It's really easy for me to impulse buy and buy a lot of it. With clothing, for some reason, I don't like the idea of having to try it on, having to figure out outfits. Another thing that overwhelms me is like furniture stores, and like organizing the inside of my apartment just sends me over the edge. Another thing is that like, paperwork, managing all your paperwork, figuring out things like that, and is it dominating your life? Like, do you have a never-ending stack of things you got to get to on your desk? Like, for example, I have some sort of money from the government that I need to fill out stuff to prove that I'm that person to get money. Like, all I have to do is just be like, yep, that's me, and I get money, and I don't feel like doing it because the paperwork is so overwhelming for me. Like, I don't feel like touching it. Like, not really a big fan of that. I finally just got my taxes done, forgot that I even wrote the taxes. So by the time the bill came out, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like, keeping up with your bills and making sure your bills are paid on time, which, oh my gosh, while I'm filming this, I realized I probably should pay my rent because it's coming due soon. And that kind of stuff happens to me. Last month, I was late on my rent, and I thought my electric bill was so like exorbitantly high and like ridiculously through the roof. Like, I felt like something was wrong and I needed to get to the bottom of it. And then I realized it was because I forgot to pay the last month's bill, which in my head was 100% paid. Like, I paid it in my mind, the same way I locked my car in my mind, but I'm just dropping bulls left and right. Like, I can't seem to get it together lately. It's just been through the roof. Another thing I've been experiencing lately, which I've read up on, I don't know why I'm talking a lot with my hands, if you know what I mean, is feeling like people are needing a lot from you. And I live alone, so it's not like I have kids running up to me. So if you have kids, let me know in the comments below what it's like to be a mom with ADHD, because that is not me. One day, hopefully, that will be me, but in the meantime, 'tis not. But just that feeling of like somebody needing one more thing from me has been really overwhelming for me. And it's not even that much. Like, not a lot of people need a lot from me. And not even needing things from me, but suggesting or trying to help. And I need the help, but I don't know how to receive the help because I don't know how to apply the help that they're trying to help me with. Like, I've had friends reach out to me and ask me what I need. I can't even give them an answer because I don't know what I need, because I also don't want to be too much, or I don't want to this, or you know, it's like you can't even ask for help or give an answer for somebody that asks you what help you need, because that already alone is so much for you. I don't even know where to begin. I'll just figure it out on my own. That's kind of where I'm at. By the time that I reach out, tell people what I do or don't need, like, I'd rather just like sit in my own like isolation chrysalis, you know. That was deep. Does anybody relate to that? You'd rather just deal with your own stuff, because like cutting that friend off was so not a fun feeling, and trying to explain my ADHD and the reaction wasn't really what I wanted. I was just like, you know what, deuces, I don't really have the mental capacity for this. Just a little overwhelming. And another thing that's overwhelming, and I keep mentioning it, is my messy apartment, which another thing I kept reading into and I was laughing at was that you don't have anybody over because your place is a mess. That is me right now. I want to have people over, but I don't really want them to see the current status of my apartment, if you know what I mean. Another thing that is, your finances overwhelm you. It's like another thing that's taking up space in my brain right now is trying to organize my finances, which with everything that's going on in the state of the world right now, finances are very particularly important, and I need to be on top of them, and I'm trying to be on top of them, but clearly by forgetting my electric bill the past month is not something I'm on top of. And I try to automate everything, but then I had to change my debit card because my debit card got lost. I know. And it's just not, it's not a fun situation. And my finances they're okay. They're actually okay. They have been worse. I've gotten better at it by learning how to handle my finances. But it could be better. Let's just say that. Another thing that I looked into, which was so true, which I know I've made a video similar to this, which is a day in the life of somebody with ADHD. Every day, like, you promise yourself you're gonna get your act together and you're gonna get more organized, or today's the day that you're determined to just get it together. And then by the end of each day, you've pretty much not done that. Also, full of ideas. I feel like I'm full of a lot of awesome ideas, but I have a big trouble. I have a hard time kind of like this sentence. I have a hard time executing all the ideas that I have, and it just seems like other people are able to organize their thoughts and organize plans of action in a linear way that makes sense and they get from point A to point B in just like a straight line. But for me, nothing makes sense and you're struggling to figure out how to execute an awesome idea that you feel like you're chock full of. You should be so much further along. You feel like you should be further along than your peers, or you know that there are people that you're smarter than, even academically, but for whatever reason, they're just excelling past you because they just stick to a simple course of action. They don't make things overwhelming. They don't cut themselves off with new ideas, which I feel like I do all the time. Like seriously, I'm always having new ideas that it's hard for me to just stick to the idea that I had at hand, which would have solved all my problems from the beginning. Finish something. Just finish this one idea that you had. And then when you're finished with this idea, you could go to the next idea. But for whatever reason, we just like to come up with ideas, start all of them, and then not complete any of them, which basically is my life right now. A lot of my energy mentally is taken up on coping with my ADHD, trying to stay focused, trying to stay organized, trying to stay on top of things, trying to keep my household together, and I live alone, and trying to go after goals and dreams and aspirations that I have, that I feel like I have no time for relaxation or fun. Even when I'm relaxing or having fun, in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking about what I should be doing. I'll either work a lot or not work at all. Like I don't have a good managing system for all of it. And I just noticed that it seems like other women, and I've read articles about this, where women with ADHD have a hard time understanding how other people seem to lead and manage very organized lives. And I know that we shouldn't compare ourselves to other people, but sometimes it's really hard to do, especially when you're in a very, low place. I guess I don't want to call myself out as having or being in a low place, but I am. And I'm being very unfair to myself and comparing myself to people that are not going through the grief that I'm going through and who don't have ADHD and who have a better handle of how to manage stuff. I just noticed that I'm like, gosh, like, why can't I seem to manage my time better? And it's because I have ADHD and I'm not terrible at it, but I catch myself noticing that I wish I could be better. And how do people do it? Like seriously, like what's your secret, guys? Because me, I'm all over the place. This past 2 weeks has really just made me realize that it's not always easy, honestly. I'm just curious if anybody has had that week or two or month or so that just really stood out to you is like ADHD on the extreme. Like, oh my gosh, like you just really were top notch on doing every like cliche thing that having ADHD is supposed to look like. Like this week I feel like I did all the cliche ADHD things that a woman can do. Locked my keys in my car, I was late to work, I forgot the wrong shirt, I got in trouble at my job, I cut someone off and got called out for it. Like you name it, my place is a mess. Just you name it, I did it this week. ADHD, I checked off all the boxes. Like ADHD bingo, I would have won. I did it. I did it, you guys. So that is the video that I have for you this week. Very simple, to the point. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, leave them in the comment section below. I almost forgot the word. Please, if you got anything out of this, let me know your thoughts. I always love hearing from you. And you all must know by now that you are always in my prayers, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.